is a web service running our generative music platform, and this creates continuous music, much like what you see in the Player app. But the goal there is to put this continuous music experience in a medium that people already know. YouTube is a song discovery tool. Lots of people go there to consume music. You guys are probably familiar with Lo-Fi Girl. Lo-Fi Girl has over 1 billion views, something close to 40,000 monthly active listeners. Actually, I think that might even be daily active listeners. So what we wanted to show is that generative music can really fit in that space. With generative music, you don't have to create songs and playlists and constantly curate more content. The generative music system can essentially create that music for you. And you can see here, there's a little bit of STEM content. We can decompose that into this sonic universe, and then the combinatorial possibilities of all those musical ideas becomes vast and very expressive as well. The roots of electronic music lie in the same model. Sampling has always been part of electronic music, and what we've done is really take it to the next level with algorithms supporting that. The interactive music player that you guys can download in the App Store and the Play Store today is another way to think of generative music as a continuous music experience. But now, because we've got the mobile device, we can provide the interactivity as well. The sliders that we've created that allow you to interact with the music are just a few of the ways that you could interact with music. There's a lot of different ideas about providing artists with unique ways to create custom interactions with their music. And because we have this scripting language here, the possibilities really are infinite. It's a programming language, so we can program it to do virtually anything that we want. I think one of the important things to understand here is that we're not training AI to listen to music and copy music. That's never been part of our ethos, and it's not part of our vision either. We're not trying to create a plagiarization tool. We're certainly not trying to create a tool that replaces artists or even mimics artists. What we're trying to do is apply algorithms and machine learning and AI to help in the engineering of music. And engineering can be tedious. Sitting down with a DAW and making a song out of constituent parts can be time consuming and tedious. And our job is to help accelerate that and also provide new mediums of expression that aren't possible. For example, continuous music. If you want to create continuous music as a producer, you have to literally continuously produce music. And now you have the ability to just focus on the musical ideas and allow Amy's generative music engine to do that for you. So with this backstop, let me jump in and start fielding some questions. So James, why don't you give me the questions and I'll go through them, and then we can go after a couple, we can pause and let the audience also jump in with some questions as well.
Sounds good, sir. Right, so I have collated a few that I have received from people either from the board or that I've been chatting to through other social media things, Instagram, etc. So let's start off with one of our very own users from this particular server called Jax, who has asked, Amy currently generates music under the EDM supergenre. Is Amy capable of music production outside of these genres, such as ska or even classical music?
So the answer is yes, because Amy's script is not particularly biased about genre. It is a programming language. The reason we started with electronic music is the first application that we wanted to focus on was this idea of continuous music. And electronic music really lends itself well to continuous formats like that. Also, the body of work that's been created that uses existing stems is very suited to this kind of decomposition and recomposition. Having said that, Amy's script is currently being used to develop what we call scores, which are essentially small programs that allow us to create music in different genres. And we will be supporting expressing music outside of this continuous music format. And once we get into songs and albums, we'll be supporting a broader variety of genres as well. That could be EDM or pop. Classical music is certainly on the list. It doesn't have to be 4 on the floor. We can do other keys. So we'll be looking at jazz, classical music, and other formats as well.
Lovely. Well, I'm waiting for the day that we can sort out a lovely endless sea of hardcore punk music, but that's probably a little bit further down the line. And it might be limited to just me. Okay, next
just you.
Yeah, probably just me. Let's be honest. But there you go.
I agree.
We have another couple of questions from Mark, who was in touch over on Instagram, who wanted to know. Let's go one at a time. So let's start off with: will you have a subscription model?
Yes, but not necessarily the way you might think. So at this point, the interactive music player is free to use, and we will be launching Amy Studio, which is our creator tool, and that will also be free to use. These tools are designed to use our sonic universe to create and express music within the mediums that we've created. So they're not designed to publish to DSPs at this time, and they're all focused on continuous music. It's really about community building. And for artists that we have signed who will be releasing experiences on our platform, it's about fan engagement. It's not about monetization at this point. Having said that, there are interesting ways in the future that we can provide subscription opportunities that can reward artists with revenue and also provide creators who use Amy Studio and publish experiences to our platform with opportunities to make money as well. One thing that we're really careful about is we don't believe it's our job to make money off music. We're a creator platform, and we want to provide tools, and creators and artists make money off their music. So we're being mindful about that, and we're being very careful about how we bring our products and technologies to market within that vein.
Very nice. And I suppose it's a sort of follow-up question from Mark. I'm also just going to note quickly that for anyone that is interested in the answers but finds there's quite a lot of information coming out and is struggling to remember all the details, I am going to try and take notes, and we'll be publishing shortened versions of Edward's answers on Discord over the coming, probably next week. Anyway, sorry, carry
James, are we recording this?
I am doing a screen record, yes. If that's okay with everyone.
Okay, perfect, great.
Probably should have announced that at the start. That was remiss of me. Mark would also like to know, is there any limit on how much you can listen to Amy?
No, there is no limit. In fact, quite the opposite. We want to encourage you to listen as long as you can. The average listening time is on the app is actually quite extraordinary. Serenity is over 2 hours. Flow is close. Most of the experiences are seeing over an hour of average listening time, and that's quite literally music to our ears. And the reason for that is that we created these experiences to be engaging, but not fatiguing. It's the same techniques that you see really good DJs use when they perform live and they play multi-hour sets. They're able to manage your energy so that the music feels like it's part of your experience without taking over the experience and exhausting you. And that's what we've tried to do with these experiences that we've created, from Serenity all the way up to Push. I routinely listen to these things for hours at a time. Interestingly enough, we're really focused on functional music right now, in the sense that we want the music to serve a purpose for you. I've used this at parties often, and a magical thing happens. I'm sure you guys have all had a party where you are really protective of your playlist, and somehow somebody gets in there and changes it up, and then everybody wants to put on their song, and it just turns into music ADD, and it ruins the whole vibe. When I put on Amy, that just never comes up, because the music just continuously plays and doesn't feel like it's jumping from one song to another song. So you just get lost in it. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about electronic music and the genre in general. It's over the decades learned how to create music that just doesn't stop. I mean, the origins of house music in Chicago and Detroit, where Frankie Knuckles would show up in a warehouse with vinyl, all to keep the music going nonstop. I mean, that's essentially what electronic music has crafted its genre around. And that's something that we believe in strongly with the app, and something that we would love for every consumer to experience. So no, there is no limit to how long you can listen. We'd love for you to listen indefinitely.
I quite agree. I love my poison of choice, if you would say.
James,
Sorry?
Let me jump in real quick. If anyone has questions that they'd like to ask live, we didn't want to put anyone on the spot, but if you do, just raise your hand in Discord, and then James will interweave live questions with some of the questions from Advance.
Yes, please do. In which, let's take a pause right now, just in case anyone wants to jump in. Otherwise, I will crack on. No? Okay. We'll crack on for now, but if anything comes to mind, let me know, and we will give you the floor. So the next one is an anonymous one, which came in through support. Someone wanted to know if it was going to be possible to cast to speakers at any stage in the future.
Well, you can always go to our YouTube channels and cast from there. The challenge with casting from our interactive music player is the music is being composed live. And unfortunately, casting requires essentially having a stream. So it's a little bit complicated to do casting from our device, but we do have the YouTube channels, and we also have Amy FM, which you can pull up in a browser. So there is a solution for you if casting is important. On iOS, obviously, you can AirPlay to any device, and that is fully supported.
Beautiful. I've also Bluetooth works nicely if anyone out there is a Bluetooth speaker user. This one's come up quite a few times actually, so it's good to cover it widely in public. If I use any Amy music as the background for my animation on a YouTube channel or a live stream, will I get done for copyright?
James has a very strict looking uniform that he puts on, and he'll be knocking on your door if we find out that you've used our music. I'm kidding. The music that comes out of Amy, the Amy experiences, you're free to use in a live setting. What I mean by that is that you can incorporate Amy's music into your live channel, your live stream, your YouTube stream. We're happy to have you do that. What we don't want is for people to record our music and try to monetize it. You're free to use output of Amy in incorporating it into Instagram posts or other social content, so long as it's not about trying to monetize the content. And the reason for this is that we're coming out with community experiences that are created by some amazing artists around the world, artists that are really influential and highly respected by the artist community. And it's important for us to preserve their original rights. So when you listen to community music in the app, you're going to see that there's quite a few artists in there who have taken a lot of time and effort to put together the musical ideas that go into these. So we want to be sure to preserve their rights in that. So we're at this point being pretty careful about this, but you're free to use the Amy music. Those are the Amy experiences in the app.
Very nice. And I'm sure it probably wouldn't hurt if you were, very kind enough, if you were doing so, to give us a little credit as well. Just tag us in, it's
good point.
At Instagram, a note, or YouTube, or whatever it may be. Just give us a little tag, and we will love you forever. What else have we got coming in? We had here's an interesting one, which I think is relevant. Again, it's tongue twisting on a Friday afternoon, excuse me. An anonymous question. Will we be adding different tonalities into the musical experiences?
Yes, the short answer to that is yes. And I don't mean to be dismissive of the question, but the potential for Amy in terms of music expression is really unlimited and limitless. So while we've started where we've started, that's not an indication of where we can go. We really felt it was important to curate a community and keep the community tightly focused around sort of these genres of music. But you'll start to see a lot more expressiveness from Amy in terms of different genres, different styles of music, different keys, different rhythms, not just four on the floor. And I think those will all be part of what we hope will be a burgeoning community of script developers. AmiScript is a programming language, and we do intend to release AmiScript and an SDK for AmiScript to the world. And once we do that, we really expect that people will create things that go way beyond what our imagination was. Not just creating different tonalities and different scales and different timings and different genres of music, but also tying Amy into different kinds of APIs. At Amy Theater, which is an immersive theater space that we've created in Austin, we have Amy tied in very tightly with Touch Designer, and we're able to now infuse visuals and music together, and it's spectacular to see. So those kinds of integrations are really important to us, and including a broad variety of styles is also really important to us.
Very nice. I was led to believe that we were unfortunate enough not to see the inside of Amy Theatre today. Is that there was a small malfunction there?
Yeah, we have an unfortunate construction delay that happened in there. We were hoping to do this live cast instead of seeing a lamp behind me. I don't know if you guys can see it. A lamp and a wall. We were hoping to show you Amy Theater, but we'll have another live broadcast from there, hopefully with one of our artists performing on Passion Flower, which is a art installation at Amy Theater. We did one at Southwest with Bob Moses. Actually, James, you can share a link to Amy Theater in the chat for this live stream, and then we can, if folks want to go check it out.
I was just going to say, people can go and check out some of this footage on Instagram, so I will post that in the chat shortly. I'll do the next question first, though, so that I don't leave everyone hanging, because that would be absolutely dreadful. We have a few more questions coming up. We have a couple from the Women in Music Forum brought to our attention, which were, I guess, quite sort of hot button topics, perhaps in the wider music industry at the moment. So I'm not sure if you'll want to cover those in great detail. Maybe there's something for the future, but let's see how it goes. So the first one was, do you have any overview offering transparency on revenue share? And then to follow it up, they were asking, how is the platform able to bypass PRO payouts, and does that benefit the rights holders on the composition side as well? There's a few sort of quite key debates and discussions that are going on in the wider industry at the moment there. But
yeah, let me back up and discuss a bit about how our technology works and how our conversation with artists goes when we're using essentially what we consider copyrighted material. But there's two types of musical ideas within Amy Sonic Universe. There's musical ideas that we created, and these are created by in-house producers who are gifted producers in their own right, and they created it under brief by us and in effect under contract by us. So there's tens of thousands of these musical ideas within our Sonic Universe. Now, we also have worked with hundreds of artists around the world who have provided us with stems. Our machine learning algorithms have decomposed those stems and populated our Sonic Universe with their musical ideas. Every musical idea in our Sonic Universe has effectively a contract associated with it. What I mean by that is we associate the copyright holders that are the originating copyright holders with each of these musical ideas. Then when we recompose these decomposed elements into songs or albums or generative music experiences for our interactive music player, we're able to attribute specifically which copyright holders' musical ideas went into that creation. If there's revenue generated from that creation, we will pay 80% of that revenue to the original copyright holders. As I mentioned, at this time, we're not charging for the interactive music player. If we do charge a subscription in the future, you'll see that 80% of that revenue goes to the original copyright holders. At this point, we don't believe that there is a PRO obligation because there's no composition. There's no recorded song. There's nothing in the registered ASCAP. Every composition that Amy makes is unique, not just in the combination of the musical ideas, but also in the effects that are being applied and all the different elements that come together. So the composition really is ad hoc, if you will. But the real goal of PRS is to make sure artists are properly compensated. We're already taking care of that. The majority of this revenue goes back to the artist, and you don't need to wait 2 years to get a check from the PRO. you're going to get it from Amy as it's being generated.
I mean, it sounds like how things ought to be done, really.
Well said, James.
Okay, the next one. There's then a bunch of the sort of the final set of questions really focus around the Amy Studio, and I'm not sure how you want to structure that. I'm not sure how much you want to talk about that, get into that right now, because as you mentioned at the start, we don't always want to talk about stuff that's down the line, because it's you can't always predict the timelines on the roadmap, etc., etc. But would you like me to throw the questions out and you can?
Yeah, please. Definitely.
Let's roll then. Okay, so the first one was from a gentleman named Steve, who is a producer under the artist name of Midnight on Mars. And he says, I have a project, a live DJ from my Midnight World, and I really need control over the music using your creative version so I can use our stems. We have applied, and just wondering when you'll be rolling this out. So, immediately on timelines.
So that's a great question. So one of the really neat things about Amy Studio, or even this concept of taking decomposed audio elements and recomposing them at runtime, is that you can expose interfaces to allow people to do that recomposition under the guidance of an artist. So at Amy Studio, one of our amazing artists, Stéphane Gervais, who's been not only an artist, but an employee at Amy here and a significant contributor across the board, he's building a live performance version of this that allows you to essentially DJ at the loop level. And I'm sure you guys have seen some DJs who can DJ at the stem level, and they're gifted savant-like DJs who can move around audio content quick enough to be able to do that. What we want to do is make that much more accessible and allow you to DJ effectively at the loop level. We're calling this euphemistically internally being an AJ. So you're an AI jockey, and being able to AJ live will give you the ability to essentially compose music live. And if you think about how granular that can be, you really do need machine learning and AI to assist you in being able to do that.
Great. I've not actually, I haven't heard that term before. That's quite funny to learn about that with a camera on my face.
We made it up at dinner last night.
Okay, so it's very new. I like it. It's always advancing. Beautiful. And our next couple of questions are from, well, I think he's become a bit of an internal legend at Amy, Mr. Kingpin. I'm not sure these ones are going to be quite so feasible today, but hopefully we'll be able to answer them in the near future if we can't now. The first one was, could you show us the general user interface and layout from the new Amy Studio app?
The answer is no, but I can show you, describe to you the, is my screen being shared right now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Show my screen share. Okay. So essentially, the way Amy Studio will work is putting the sonic universe front and center, meaning we want to allow you as a amateur or a professional or a music lover or just a music enthusiast to be able to have this decomposed world of musical ideas available for you to recreate and reanimate your own musical experiences. So if you think of the interactive music player as exposing interactivity to existing experiences, Amy Studio gives you the ability to curate and create your own experiences. So there's a few fundamental aspects to this app. One is being able to browse the sonic universe, and we provide various ways to browse it associated with the features of these musical ideas. This could be attributes like how boomy something is, how groovy it is, what BPM it's at. We also allow you to filter and view the sonic universe through the prism of a genre. So you might pick ambient, you might pick mid-tempo or down-tempo. And this filters this vast sonic universe to musical ideas that work well together within the context of what you're hoping to do. Next step is that you just pick some sounds. And this part is really fun. We have a video of a very young girl, I think she was around 6 years old, at South by Southwest, basically tapping on sounds that she liked. And then she picked the genre and hit play. And she created a house experience that was pretty damn good. And the point there is that should be enough to know what kind of sounds you like. And the more complex part that requires music theory and music mixing knowledge and genre specific details, she doesn't need to know. And that kind of knowledge can be essentially incorporated into the underlying engine, in other words, Amy, and turn those musical ideas that you selected into beautiful music that you can listen to. So that's essentially the essence of Amy Studio. Now, once you create something, you can just keep it private for yourself and enjoy it, or you can publish it to our community. And our community is going live imminently. It's in the app now. Everyone on this call is going to get a link, not a link, but James will set everyone up on this call with access to the community, so you can get early access to it. You'll see dozens of experiences created by artists in very much the same manner, with a more of an internal tool, but still the same gist as Amy Studio. So that'll allow you to take your creations and share them to our community of people and build a following yourself. As you guys all know, a big part of electronic music is sampling, and often the sampled stuff is better than the originals. We were just talking about this yesterday about Eric Prydz' Call on Me. And I almost regret saying that, because for the last week, that song has been stuck in my head, and I've been having a really hard time getting it out of my head, and I just put it back in. But that's sampling, right? Sampling is just a great way to recombine musical ideas and create amazing new things out of it. So Studio is really about that. I'll answer a follow-on question, which I've got a bunch of times. Will Studio be usable to publish outside of our app? And the answer right now is no. The reason for that is, very soon, once the community experiences are released, you will not only have access to all of the musical ideas in Amy's Sonic Universe that we've created, but you will also have access to all of the musical ideas that our artists have created. That means if you want to mash up Carl Cox and Blessed Madonna and Gene on Earth, go for it. And we think it's going to sound wonderful. In fact, our technology will help it make sound wonderful while you add in the creative inspiration of what sounds you want to put together. So for now, those experiences will be publishable in our app, but we're looking at ways to cross syndicate to YouTube. So you can publish a continuous music stream on YouTube. As I mentioned before, Amy's script can be used to make songs just as easily as it can be used to make experiences. So we're looking at ways to potentially have the ability to export songs that you can listen to. Now, there's a lot of rights issues to navigate there. So those are things that we're really keen on figuring out before we rush anything to market. So just to review, in the beginning, you will be able to use Amy Studio to create and publish experiences within the Amy Interactive Player.
Yeah, it sounds like there's probably quite a lot that you will be able to do initially, and then that will grow as the technology grows and capabilities grow, etc. as well. So exciting stuff. That kind of ties, there we go, into the next question, which was essentially saying, will be able to create songs and export them. So I think you've rather succinctly already answered that one. So I shall move on to the final sort of advanced question that I've pulled from people online, which was that obviously there are a number of generative or sort of long form music playing apps that are doing the rounds at the moment. I suppose anything from Calm to something more like Endel or Endel. I'm not sure on the pronunciation of that one. How is it that you view Amy as distinguishing itself from some of these existing apps that are out there currently?
Yes, so we do have an app, obviously, the Interactive Music Player, but we are a platform company. We have built a platform that we think is going to be able to touch a variety of different aspects of the music industry, and our goal is to really enable a broad ecosystem of applications on our platform. So we welcome and really are excited by the number of companies that are creating apps in here. This is such a massive opportunity for all of us that there's room for everybody. And there's enough distinction between these apps that I think they can all coexist. Some of them are focused on therapeutic benefits of music. Other ones are focused really on the incorporation of music into activities like meditation. We do believe that our platform can be used to create apps like that. The focus of our app really is on this artist and fan engagement and this idea of continuous music experiences to replace the idea of a playlist. So I love the way this industry is evolving right now, and I love how AI has come to the forefront and really legitimized the idea of generative music. So I think all of these applications are just helping the entire industry. The bigger waves float more boats. So I'm happy to see that.
It's a wonderful lack of ego on display there. Very nice indeed. And I have to say, with some of the music that we do have, and also the simple quality and the quantity of it that we have, if you wanted to, rather than getting a whole meditation-based app, I think Serenity would function for that perfectly well for almost any. I think, or Flow if you want to do some yoga or some focus. I think these are all it's a multi-purpose app, and we can compete on multiple fronts. That's my ego speaking. I'm not sure. Yeah, so that is the end of the questions that we have been pitched to us in advance. So so thank you for taking the time to answer those, Edward. Now I think would be the time if anyone has had any inspiration or has anything's come to mind over the course of the last sort of 40 minutes that they want to put to Edward while they have the chance, jump in right now. Otherwise, I am always floating around in Discord, so please do just reach out to me at any given moment, and I can always answer you on the spot. And if I'm not, there'll be some of the wonderful slightly more intelligent people from the development team or Edward himself there as well, who might be able to answer when they are able to check in. So if anyone has any questions now, please unmute yourself and dive right in. Otherwise, that might be more or less us done for the day. Has anyone got anything to say? Or?
I heard a couple unmutings.
No, well, I understand.
I'm not sure if those are the sounds of people unmuting or. Just real quickly, let me add a couple of things about the Discord community. So we really enjoy this Discord community, and we really want to add a lot of value here. We really encourage people here. Please feel free to ask questions. As James said, I'm going to be spending a lot more time on here. When we announce things and we talk about products and features, it's going to happen here first. So this is the community that's going to get advanced access to features that we release under beta. The first versions of Studio are going to go to you guys to play around with. So we really appreciate the fact that you guys are taking the time and energy on here and asking really good questions. And we learn a lot from the questions, and we also just really encourage and benefit from feedback. We want this to feel like it's as much your product as it is ours. So we really encourage you guys not to be shy and jump in and give us as much feedback and Q&A as possible.
Beautiful stuff. All right, well, Edwards, thank you so much. I know you're a very busy man, so thank you for taking the time out of your day to answer the good questions of these lovely people. And thank you for everyone for joining us. As I said, we will be on Discord most of the time. If you have anything, please do throw out questions or just feel free to engage in any way. Even if you want to just ask us, what have we been listening to lately? Anything. We're always happy to engage and answer any questions. So other than that, for those who are just starting their days, please.
James? Sorry, just real quickly, where are you going to post the recording, just so everyone knows if they want to go back and view it?
It's a good question. I will probably put it in
recordings.
Recordings would be there is a recordings channel which is
actually this is for artists. It's for artist
I
recordings.
started new recordings,
Well,
or
why
I
don't
can
you
put
just
it.
announce it in the general channel?
I can put it in general, or I can put it in events because
It's
this
easier
was
to figure it out later.
a nice event, and I just lost my train of thought there. Apologies, but yeah, I was going to say that's right. If you're just starting your day, have a great one. If you're finishing your day, have a fantastic weekend. We look forward to speaking to you all soon, and take care and look after yourselves. Until next time. See you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.